hope you are well and keeping safe at home. Now, my name is Mrs. Gray and I'm the maths lead here at Fakenham Infant School. First of all, I would just like to say a massive thank you to everybody who filled out the questionnaire that I sent out to you before Christmas. Now, as a result of that, I am here today to offer you a little bit of help and support with the home learning journey that you have found yourselves on at the minute. Remember, you are not alone. Your teachers and grown-ups in school are here to help you. If you have a maths query that they can't support you with, then you can always get in contact with me at lgray@fakenhaminfant.org.uk. So during this video, we're going to look at some of the resources that we use in school and any possible alternatives that you might already have at home or that you could easily make. We're also going to have a chat about number and place value because that is really important in every area of maths. And then we're going to have a little look at what we call maths meetings in school. So extra activities and things that you could do to build on really important maths skills. And then a little bit of a chat about yearly expectations and number formation. Hey, so let's take a little look at some of the resources that we use in school. You might have seen some of these before, or some of them might be a little bit new to you. Now here, these are things like counting objects that we use for counting, adding, subtracting, making arrays, lots and lots of different uses. Now, although we buy these in school, anything that you have at home can be used. Any small toys that you have, or pennies, stones from the garden. There's so many different things that you could use. We also use these a lot in school. Now these are bead strings. This is a 100 bead string here, and you can see that it's been separated into tens. Now that is really, really helpful for the children. But remember, we're just trying to make the best of the situation that we find ourselves in at the minute. So if you don't have a bead string at home, but you think that you would like one so that you could use it to add, use it to take away, use it to count in twos, fives, threes, tens, whatever it is that your child is learning to do, you could easily make one of these. If your child has beads at home, a piece of string, a shoelace, that's all this is. Or you could use pasta, anything that you can think of to make your very own bead string at home. We also use Numicon. Now Numicon are these plastic shapes that represent different numbers. These are also really good to add, take away, but they're also fantastic to make numbers. So if I'm looking at the fourness of the number 4, I can see that to make the number 4, one way I could make the number 4 would be 2, and then, oh look, I would need 2 more. Numicon is fantastic, and I very much doubt that you have some laying around at home, but there are other things that you could use. Here I've got some Duplo. Now you can see the similarities between the 8 piece of Numicon and this piece of Duplo here. We might use the 8 piece of Numicon to count in twos. Similarly, you could use the Duplo to count in twos, or even Lego. So there are other options for you to use at home. We regularly use 100 squares. Now you could make a 100 square quite easily, or there are websites like Twinkle that you could download them from, but I'm sure that lots of you grown-ups would have games like Snakes and Ladders at home. Now remember that that might have a 100 square in it. It might go the other way, but still, as long as you explain the rules to your children about the order being slightly different, it will still be really, really helpful for you. This is a tens frame that we can use again, like I said about the fourness of 4, here we could look at the tenness of 10. This is very easy for you to make, grown-ups. Very, very easy, just a simple piece of card and then make sure that you have got your 10 spaces. And you could use your tens frame to, again, look and see if you've got 2, how many more would you need to fill it up to make 10. There are also some games with a tens frame that I'll show you in a little bit. Number lines, if you've got a ruler at home, the ruler could take the place of the number line. Again, we use money lots and lots and lots. If you do have some money in that old piggy bank of yours at home, grown-ups, you could use that to help you. Cubes, again, taking it back to the objects, although we would use cubes in school, and some of your grown-ups might model using cubes in school for the videos that they're sending you, any objects will be useful. Dice can be used for lots and lots of games, lots and lots of activities. So raid those games like Snakes and Ladders and see if you can find one of those, because you can create your own number sentences. Oh, look, 5 add 4. Make your own number sentences using dice. Lots and lots of games that you can play with that. So, maths meetings, what are they? They are a little extra bit of maths that we do in school to drip feed those really, really important skills that will help the children if we do it regularly, so they get that extra practice continuously throughout the school year. So here we've got money, time, counting, shape and number formation. Those are the things that I'd like to talk to you about today. So money is a really tricky thing to teach, because more and more often people are using cards to pay for, and children are not seeing money as often, especially given the current situation that we all find ourselves in. But you have an opportunity at home now to change that. You can make your own shop in your house when children want snack. Instead of just saying, okay, go and grab yourself something, could you add little price tags to them, give the children some change and actually build on those skills every day? Moving on to time. Time isn't just about telling the time. Time includes all those important things like days of the week, months of the year, etc. So, in school we have a calendar. Every day, when the children come in, we talk about what day it is, what day it was yesterday, what day it will be tomorrow, and change the day. Especially at the minute, to keep a handle on what day we are on, could you create your own calendar to have at home? Encourage the children, maybe if you've got a whiteboard or a piece of paper, to write the day of the week and write the date every day, because they'll be expected to do that in their work as well. Also with time, obviously we do then move on to telling the time to o'clock, half past, quarter past, quarter to, and even in year 2 to 5-minute intervals. So for example, 10 past 9, we do move on to that. We try and do it regularly so that the children get daily practice of that. Could you at home make snack time a certain time, at lunchtime at 12 o'clock, morning snack 10:30, dinner time 5:15, 6:15, whatever fits in with your family, and try and encourage the children daily to look at that clock and see if it's getting close to snack time, close to lunchtime, to build up that recognition. Counting. Counting is so important, and it's something that is absolutely used every day in every classroom in lots and lots of different ways. We don't just have to count in ones. The children build on to counting 2s, 3s, 5s and 10s by the time they leave our school. And there's different ways that we can do that. So come and join me down here. Now, here I have got a cup. You could use it to be a counting cup. Now, if your child is in their early stages of counting, you could ask the children to listen and to count in ones. So, how many did they hear drop into the cup? If your child is in year 1 or year 2 and is progressing further, then you could say, right, okay, each counter this time is going to be 2. So, if I'm going 2, 4, you could use coins for this, so to build in the money as well. So if I'm dropping in 5p coins, what amount is in the cup? So 5, 10, 15, 20. Just a different way of adding in some counting. Now, when we're thinking about counting, we can do some games as well. So here I've got my tens frame and my dice, and I've also got here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 counters. I'm using counters. It can be anything at home. You could use coins, stones, those little objects that we talked about earlier. So if I roll my dice, I'm going to count out 2. 1, 2. You can start to ask your child, how many more would I need to add to get to 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you're encouraging counting, but you can also make it a challenge. So could you fill up this tens frame in less than 4 rolls? Set your child that challenge and see if they can. Shape. Shape is one of those incidental things that you can bring into every part of your day. So it's reaching lunchtime, you're making sandwiches. What shape are the sandwiches? It's not just thinking about shapes. Take into account things like fractions, halving and quarters. When you're making dinner, if you're having a cheeky pizza, could you cut it into half or into quarters? Talk to the child about what that actually means. And then number formation. Now, getting those numbers the right way around is really, really tricky. And we know that that is the case for the children in our school. So it might seem a little bit harsh, grown-ups, but if a child does get a number the wrong way around, we do ask them to then write it and repeat it 3 or 5 times in their books. So could you encourage your children to do that as well? That would be really, really helpful. In a minute, I'll talk to you about how we form our numbers and what we could give you to help you with that. Hey, so I just wanted to quickly chat about number and place value because it is so integral in all areas of maths. And as grown-ups at home and even sometimes teachers in school, we're really, really quick to rush ahead to those bigger numbers because we know that the children and us sometimes think that bigger numbers mean more of a challenge, and that really isn't the case. So what we might do in school is we might spend a week or 2 or even 3 or 4 thinking really carefully about one particular number. So even if we're just focusing on the number 5 and we're really looking at the 5-ness of the number 5, there is so much that your child needs to know about that number before they're ready to move on. So you might be looking at different ways of making the number 5. So for example, 3 and 2. You might be looking at 1 more than 5, 1 less than 5. Can they add within 5? Can they take away within 5? There are really, really important skills there before we then move on to higher numbers. So don't be too quick to rush ahead. When we get really confident with our numbers up to 10, now remember we're thinking about place value, so we're thinking about the value of each number. So when we're thinking about the numbers 10 to 20, our tricky teen numbers, those are the trickiest of all of the numbers for the children to really, really understand. So we need to focus and spend some time on that. For example, if we're looking at the number 17, your child might be able to count to 17. Your child might be able to count 17 objects. Your child might be able to read the number 17 and write the number 17. But there's more to it than just that. Now, when we're thinking about place value, like I said, we're thinking about the value of each digit in this 2-digit number. So what does the 1 mean in 17? And what does the 7 mean in 17? We call them the 10s and the 1s. So when we're looking at the number 17, we want the children to understand that the 1 doesn't mean 1. The number 1 in 17 means 10. That's what that 1 represents. And that the 7 represents 7 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, had to check. So that the 1 means 10 and that the 7 means 7 ones. So looking really, really carefully at the 10s and the 1s in that number. Because then we need to move on to the fact that actually, if we've got the number 17, really the 1 means 10 and the 7 means just 7. The 7 ones that make up the number 17. Again, before moving on to even higher numbers, you could look, okay, well actually, can I challenge myself even further? I can partition this number into the 10s and the 1s, 10 and 7, or it could be 10 and 3 and 4 to make up the number 17. It could be 10, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 to get to the number 17. And then looking at writing number sentences to make that number, so then I know that actually 10 add 7 equals 17. When your child is confident doing this with numbers up to 20, of course then we can move on to larger numbers and look at making those numbers in different ways. But sometimes we really, really need to focus in detail on those smaller numbers as well. So number formation is really, really important, and to help the boys and girls in school, we use this. Now this is how we write our numbers, and for each number there's a little phrase at the bottom to support. So for example, 4 is 0, all the way round. And this shows us where we need to start and which direction we need to go in. We will send this out to you grown-ups so that you can help reinforce that learning at home, because this is important no matter what year group your child is in. But to help you know what the expectations are for your children by the end of the year, we will also be sending you this. So these are the key end of year expectations for each year group. So we've got reception year 1 and year 2. Bear in mind though, grown-ups, with the missed learning from last year, with the school closures, there might be aspects of the previous year group that we try to reinforce with your children as well. Remember, these are the end of year expectations. So we've got reception, year 1 and year 2. They are the end of year expectations. So not what your children should be able to do now, but what we hope they will be able to do by the end of their time in that year group. Thank you everyone for watching. Remember, if you need any extra information, please do get in contact with your child's class teacher or myself. Take care everyone and stay safe. Bye.